This right here is a frittata. It's delicious, light, chock full of vegetables, healthy, or at least what passes for healthy on my channel, and Italian. And I'm going to show you how to make it right now. Hi, I'm Uncle Carl, foodie and world traveler. Come join me as I recreate some of the dishes that I've experienced from around the world. Thank you for joining me on this trip, and welcome to Twin Moons Tavern. Frittata is an Italian, also Spanish kind of dish. It is an egg dish. It is an awful lot like an omelet. Sometimes it's baked, and instead of being made for one person at a time, it's kind of made for a family, more like a pie. So somewhere really between an omelet and a quiche. There's lots and lots of different ways you can make it. You can make it with any fillings you want. Anything that would go good in an omelet or a quiche would go really good in a frittata. This is a veggie one that I've done. Before I show you how to make it, if you like this kind of video, go ahead and subscribe and make sure you hit the notification button so you can keep track of uploaded videos. Once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make this. First, our ingredients: 1 dozen eggs, 1/2 onion, 2 to 3 cloves of garlic, half of a red pepper, half of an orange or yellow pepper, 1 tomato, 1 zucchini, 1 cup of baby spinach, 4 ounces goat cheese, olive oil as needed, salt and pepper to taste. First, we're going to start by prepping our vegetables. I had 2/4 of an onion left over, so instead of chopping into a new one, I just sliced this one up. If you have an actual half or full onion, feel free to do a medium or small dice. I'm doing slices here, mostly because it's easier to do when an onion's already quartered. Next, I'm going to get some garlic, crush it beneath the flat of my blade. Be careful not to cut you. Peel them, give them a quick slice, and then the old rocky choppy until they're nicely minced. Next, I'm going to take a tomato. I'm going to go ahead and slice it in half, and then carefully cut a V formation where the stem usually comes out. And I'm going to cut them again into quarters, and then to eighths, and then from there, just chop them up into these triangle shapes. Really, any size or shape is going to work here. If you want to get super precise about it, having everything the exact same size will help with cooking. But I like things rustic. I like the aesthetic, and I think it adds something to the texture of it. Now we're going to go ahead and get our red pepper. Cut off the top. Cut it in half. Go ahead and pull out all those seeds and the pith. In these sweet peppers, the pith really just doesn't add a whole lot, and the seeds are going to add a bitterness to it, so you want to remove all of that. And you're just going to go ahead and slice it into sticks, pile those sticks together, and then just go ahead and chop through them again, and then you get nice little cubes. And then we're going to do the same thing with the orange pepper I got. Cut off the top, cut it in half, remove the pith and seeds, slice it into sticks, and then just chop through it, and you got yourself a small cube or dice. Now for the zucchini, cut off the top and the toe, carefully slice it in half, slice it into a quarter, and then just go ahead and work through it, cutting it into quarter slices. These are about 1/4 inch thick, maybe a little bit longer. Doesn't really matter how big you make these pieces, as long as you're consistent-ish with them. Now for the eggs. We're going to take 1 dozen, yes, 1 dozen. This makes enough for 4 or 5 people. Go ahead and crack them into a big bowl. When you realize you got a little piece of shell in there, just go ahead and pull it out with a spoon. It's a lot easier to do it with a spoon than a fork. And then just go ahead and beat the eggs. Don't forget to add salt and pepper. This is a big dish, so don't be stingy with the salt and pepper. That's all going to spread out through everything. Now that you have everything prepped, go ahead and put your pan on a medium-high heat, and then introduce a couple of ounces of olive oil. This is olive. It might seem like a lot of olive oil, but you need enough to cook all the vegetables and thoroughly coat the entirety of the pan, so you'll be fine. Now we're going to start adding our vegetables in the order of the length that they take to cook. So first we're going to start with the onions. I got the garlic in there as well because I didn't separate them on my plate. Garlic really should have gone in like a minute or 2 later, but that's fine. Go ahead and sweat the onions. We just want them to get where they're starting to get translucent. It shouldn't take any more than 5 minutes. Next up is the zucchini. Plop it in there. Go ahead and give it a stir. Let it cook for about another minute or two. Remember, they're going to continue cooking as we put in other vegetables and then as we put in the eggs, so they'll be fine. Now go ahead and add your peppers. Give them a stir. And this is where we're really going to start to see all the color pop. With all the different vegetables in there, there's just so much color in this dish. It's really beautiful to make. After about 2 or 3 minutes of cooking it with the peppers, again, you're just trying to get them soften up a little bit. Go ahead and add your tomatoes. Again, stir everything together. Tomatoes aren't going to take long, maybe a minute or two. Go ahead and add your spinach, a cup's worth, or if you got giant mitts like me, 1 handful. Stir them in there, and we're just going to cook them long enough for them to wilt. Once that's happened, go ahead and add in your eggs. And then after about a minute, get yourself a wooden spatula and just kind of fold in from the sides a little bit towards the middle. That's going to help the egg cook all the way through. When you realize you forgot your goat cheese, go ahead and add 2 ounces of that goat cheese that you have. You're going to reserve the other 2 ounces for later on. And again, fold it in, level the lid off, and then just let it cook for a little while. It's not going to take long, just a couple of minutes. The way to know that you're ready is that if it's starting to firm up in the middle, and if you take the edge of your knife and not the spatula, and pull it up like that, you should start to see it brown. Once it starts to brown, you're good for the next step. Now I'm going to use that goat cheese that I reserved. Now the rest of that goat cheese I have it separated into 8 equal pieces, and I'm just going to place them opposite each other. First of all, this is going to make really nice presentation, and secondly, it helps with portioning out. Just kind of slice in between the dollops of goat cheese. And despite going to culinary school, I still can't slice a pie evenly. Now we're going to go ahead and put it in a preheated oven at 450 degrees for about 10 to 15 minutes. That's just going to help everything set, and the goal is to try to get a nice crust on the top. Once that's done, go ahead and pull it out and let it rest for about 5 minutes. And now for the tricky part. You got to get this out of the pan in one piece. Get your knife, very, very carefully, get it in between the pan and the frittata. Work it around the sides a little bit just to loosen it up. Now you're going to get the pan over to your plate. Just like you did with your knife, you're going to work around it with your wooden spatula and then carefully slide it off your pan onto the plate. I'm garnishing it with a little parsley. Like I said, we're going to slice in between those dollops of goat cheese, creating even slices. And then there you have it. Go ahead and get yourself a slice. This is a really delicious way to have eggs. It is not complicated. It does take some finesse. Balancing the cook time between the stovetop and the oven to get the egg cooked all the way through without burning the outside edge of it is tricky by itself. You're going to have to play around a little bit with those cook times depending on your pan, depending on your oven, depending on your stove. It is a pretty particular dish, so just kind of experiment with those times. And then getting it out of the pan onto the plate takes a little finesse. So don't beat yourself up if it's not perfect the first time out, but after you've done it and you're set up 2 or 3 times, you'll get it perfect every time. It'll be delicious, light, and healthy, and it makes a great breakfast or brunch when you have guests over. As always, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more. Don't forget to hit that notification button.